The U.S. Coast Guard is the only branch of the military whose active duty members are now going without pay. Thousands of people in the service's civilian workforce have also been furloughed because of the government shutdown. The Second Harvest Food Bank is working to provide food assistance to those now missing paychecks.
I think it's thousands. It's not tens and it's not hundreds, because it's not just the Coast Guard. It's everybody who works for a government contractor.
A Coast Guard spokesman in New Orleans declined comment on the shutdown. Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Carl Schultz sent a memo to his men and women, in part saying, "To the best of my knowledge, this marks the first time in our nation's history that service members in a U.S. armed force have not been paid during a lapse in government appropriations. It is also not lost on me that our dedicated civilians are already adjusting to a missed paycheck. We are confronting this challenge together." Second Harvest has been approached to set up special pop-up pantries to help Coast Guard families.
In this instance, it's going to be, how do we connect people to food boxes for as long as this goes on, so that we can hopefully save them some money that they would be spending on groceries.
New Orleans area businesses are also doing what they can to help government workers. Wash World, next to Melba's on Elysian Fields, is offering them free washing and drying services for the duration of the shutdown.
All they have to do is come on into the Wash World with their federal ID, or either they can grab a manager and let them know what they're here for, and they'll be happy to help them.
Another part of the community reaching out to help those in a time of need. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.
And Louisiana is joining other states in handing out February food stamps early because of the government shutdown. Officials say those benefits should be available on or before January 20th.